You famously always wanted to guard your private life very carefully. How do you cope with media intrusion into your life now? The camera phone, the social media.
Yes, it's a challenge, isn't it? It always was. I think you realise that when you lift your head above the parapet to become a public person, as it were, because, I've been a communicator through writing songs and performance and giving interviews on television and radio and then, through video, all the mediums, they've been there. And as you said, I'm a shy person, actually, and I'm an ordinary person. I want to walk in the streets. I don't want to stand out necessarily. But I try to deal with sometimes intrusiveness as graciously as possible because I understand, yes, I've done this. I've put my head up there to be knocked down or to be revered or whatever. I just try to stay grounded. That's maybe the only thing I can tell you. I am frustrated with the kind of cult of celebrity. I find it extremely superficial. It is very harsh at times because social media is a rough place to be these days. It's very divisive and very polarising, and you can be quoted and misquoted, and that is maybe the source of my greatest frustration, is the number of times I feel I've been misrepresented because of misleading headlines or some editor chopping out the most significant part of the sentence to turn it around to be something that was simply not accurate.
How much do you still love performing as much as you did when you started?
Oh, much less. When I was, a younger musician, let's say, in my 20s and 30s and even in my 40s, I had such a passion for music, such a passion. It was my life. It wasn't my job, it wasn't my profession, it was my life. Everything I did was I put my heart on my sleeve and wore it there and felt it. I ate, lived and breathed music and music making. That's what I did. And the change came when I was so fortunate to have 2 healthy babies. And this is another thing that informs my activism. My belief in women is the fact that I came from being a very, very dedicated rock pop star, contemporary woman, and I became a mother. Everything changed.
To 2 girls.
To 2 girls, yes. So, this sense of watching young girls growing up and being a mother and the preciousness of that, how precious that is.
I remember when you and Dave Stewart were together as the Eurythmics, obviously. I remember that we're more or less contemporaries. And you were very much equal partners and you never wanted to be a sex symbol. But you did say once that he had to be the positive one because you were despairing and morose.
Yes.
To what extent would you still describe yourself in that way?
Oh, I'm still despairing and morose, but it's not a continuum. Who wouldn't be despairing and morose if you're a sensitive soul on this planet? Quite honestly. You just have to read a newspaper. How can you be inured to the outrageous things that happen, the injustices, the cruelty, the ignorance, basically, that is bandied about? And we're so interested in it, aren't we? Because we buy the magazines and the newspapers. So on a personal level, I have always been a person. You can read the lyrics of the songs. They're mine and they're from the darker side. But I also believe to be positive, one must do something. There must be action.
There is one song that is not from the darker side.
Okay.
It's
you found one then?
Something of a woman's anthem.
Okay.
It has to be said. It's called Sisters Are Doing It For Themselves.
So we're coming out of the kitchen, 'cause there's something we forgot to say to you. It's that sisters are doing it for themselves, standing on their own 2 feet and bringing on their own day.
What inspired it?
Well, it's really funny because songs are hard to come by. Sometimes they would leap into one's consciousness, maybe all in one go. And Sisters was one of those songs for me. And it was something like I wanted to write an anthem for women. I really did. I thought it was time to do something like that. So it was a challenge. I thought, okay, I want to write this song. And basically I woke up one morning, as they do, all those legendary blues singers, and I wrote it. And presented it to Dave and said, look, I've written this and where do you fit in with this? He said, oh my God, there's nothing for me to do. So there's a fantastic guitar solo in the middle. If you remember the video, it's so sweet. And Dave is kind of spinning around doing this frantic guitar solo all on his own. And it's so funny because it's like it's sort of like a symbol of maybe the way sometimes men feel about women too. Like, what am I supposed to do? Because I really do believe that men are very important to partner with us shoulder to shoulder. I don't believe that we have to be enemies of men. I think that we must be connected with men, and they must be feminists too, you know, if I'm going to use that F word. I think men could be feminists and can be and are.